Okay, hello everyone. I'm Matt from Hardware Shenanigans with my good friend of us with the first podcast, and today we will go through the week's news. The first news today is about Apple and its plans in switching to the ARM architecture for the next Macs. Avast, what do you think?
I personally was expecting this kind of thing for a while, as they once changed from PowerPC to Intel, and I think it's obvious that sometimes they will move to their own chip designs based on ARM in this case.
Yes, indeed. And this comes as a conclusion to the problem that Apple had with Intel. More exactly, the above the lower performance relative to the newer and more efficient Ryzen and Threadripper CPUs for their iMacs and Mac Pro respectively. They were and still have problems with very high temperatures and the general high prices of Intel chips. What does the future hold for them?
I think we will see a transition from for the old techs moving to the ARM. Apple, for example, they have control over the silicon.
Yeah, because Apple already made the motherboard, the chassis, etc. I think that Apple is trying to create an ecosystem in which every single part that goes in their machines is controlled by them. And these correct strategies for a company the size of Apple?
From a business standpoint, they have more control and profit.
They maximize the profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here, when it comes to the actual architecture, we can see some real improvements from the same TDP. It's not quite RISC V, but still. And I remember someone saying that we will not see an immediate switch to ARM in their high-end lineup, comparing to the performance of a 28-core Xeon.
I think there are already some 64-core ARM-based CPUs out there.
Yes, but I don't think that they are going to go in the next Mac Pro or the next iMac Pro soon because Apple Silicon is still at its beginning. It's strange that macOS will support, at least for a period, both x86 and ARM, and that I think will be quite interesting.
They have already stated in their discussion that they were still going to feature Intel-based machines in the near future.
Yes, exactly. So quality assurance is the main problem that Apple is stating to had with Intel regarding temperature and reduced performance from thermal throttling. Now, I don't think that Intel is to blame. I mean, in Apple's MacBook Air, they just had a 10-gram heatsink that wasn't even connected to the CPU directly with thermal paste. Now, not even saying about the fact that the fan wasn't even close to the heatsink assembly in the first place, and the fact that after hitting 100 degrees the CPU throttled itself to 7 watts just to not burst in flames.
Yes, now we have to be fair. It is not just Intel's blaming here.
Now, I understand that Apple is a design-focused company, and and its customers don't really care so much about the absolute performance, more of the style and the prestige of the machine. But that does not justify having the CPU under puny heatsink with over 100 degrees constantly heavy workloads.
Every year I hear news about Apple's policies, and there were some scandals in back then and now when they were accused by doing bad design just for the products to defect and the consumer to come and repair a tap or in exchange of money. I can't know if this is true, but it's a possibility. As a last idea, when was this decision taken inside Apple? I mean, if they have been thinking for this to make this decision for a while.
I think that this decision is a long time coming because they most likely planned this ahead of time to make sure that when they announced it finally, the chips would not be far from release. They had to build their own architecture from the ground up, and they only made this public now to keep the ARM chips as a novelty. Can we expect the same temps on ARM?
That will be quite worrying to see.
Okay, the next news that we're going to be looking at is the new hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. It is a new feature that Microsoft announced with the new Windows 10 2004 update, but only now we see support from both AMD and Nvidia by drivers. It is in short the switch from CPU scheduler to the GPU scheduler, which should clear up the CPU a bit. I just watched a video that from Gamers Nexus about the games that have improvements, or should I say the lack of improvement, or even worse performance in games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Divinity Original Sin. What do you think?
I haven't seen any substantial performance benefit, but I think for the weaker hardware it will be good.
Yes, I think I heard Microsoft saying that the difference is almost invisible because most games bypass the problem with the GPU or CPU scheduler by having the CPU send batches of frames to the GPU to render, instead of having the CPU to send frame by frame, thus having a smaller latency but reduced frame rate as well.
At least we have the option now.
Well, maybe. It is known that new features do not necessarily add performance. All of the links in the description are on, by the way, so you can access them by yourselves. Okay, I think that is enough. Next up we have some Renard leaks regarding the upcoming 4700G, 4400G and the 4200G.
Like this morning I found some pictures of benchmarks of these chips, and although I think they were a little bit overclocked, they still got some incredible scores. In same bench R20 and R15, they got very good scores. As you can see, Zen is a very flexible architecture.
Do you think these CPUs have potential in businesses with their integrated graphics?
In the first place, you can see that the TDP is 65 watts, which means that the need for a good motherboard or a good cooler are eliminated.
And these chips should boost no problem with the rated clock speeds that are at least in this leak 4.4 GHz for the top end 4700G and 4.3 and 4.2 GHz respectively for the younger brothers. That plus the fact we have the IPC improvement of Zen 2 and the new 7nm process, we might just get actual 9900K performance.
And the price is about right for, they're $30-70 for what they offer.
Yeah, with an integrated GPU at that price, plus this is very acceptable considering the performance of 9900K and the GPU performance of a GTX 1050, plus the overclocking potential.
And I would say that the chips have a much bigger overclocking potential compared to their relatives, the 30 series.
Yes, because the silicon quality has improved, fact proven by the existence of Ryzen 3000 XT series.
Yeah, and about just a few days ago I saw the 4700G with a kid of memory at 30 MHz with a cache of 14 that had the latency close to the newest Intel i9 1090K. This shows we can expect a solid gain in gaming potential.
Yeah, but 433 MHz for a CAS 15 is a lot to ask from normal DDR4 memory. But it's really nice that we are starting to see AMD being competitive in gaming. And maybe, just maybe, with Zen 3, AMD can take the crown from Intel in gaming. But we'll see, because the Blue Team is planning in launching the 11th generation mid-December or maybe January. But we'll see. Moving on to the second news regarding AMD. Avast, maybe you can explain what we are watching.
Well, AMD had a formula with which it can calculate the efficiency of its CPUs, and it looks like they managed to get 31.770 times more efficient compared to their 2014 architecture named Cavalry.
I think this was to be expected because AMD has improved oh so much in the last years, and its competition is always well received by end user or the consumer. And with that, we go into the last news that we are going to cover today, and that is Intel that restarts shipments to Inspur,
Intel had some contracts with a Chinese company named Inspur.
which is the third biggest vendor in the world and biggest in China.
Yeah, that is correct.
And what happened?
Well, Intel stopped shipping to it because users just moved Inspur to the list of China's army-controlled companies and banned Intel from sending any more merchandise to them. Also, I understand. So Intel sent the shipments, but will never get there.
I understand. So another loss, unfortunately, for Intel.
But as you can see, nor AMD nor Nvidia has this problem.
Yes, curiously, because they are two considered American companies, if I'm correct. Okay, that was all for now. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the bell like button. If you want more, get subscribed. I am Hardware Shenanigans.
And I'm Avast.
This was Weekly Shenanigans. Have a great day and thanks for watching.